So, I'm doing another video in reference to the case in Philadelphia, uh, the state versus Umar Johnson, or should I say, Dr. Umar Johnson. Uh, I don't know if young Pharaoh. I'm pretty sure he's fully aware of the case, but I want to say this, and I'm hoping that enough people would see this video and pass it on to young Pharaoh. Pass it on to young Pharaoh. Pass it on to Tariq Nasheed. And when I say this, I'm not going to walk on eggshells with any of these individuals. Even Umar Johnson, I'm not going to walk on eggshells with him either. But I will say this much: in the most respectful way possible, because our biggest issue is we don't know how to effectively communicate with each other. We don't know how to hold ourselves and each other accountable, especially when there is solid concrete evidence proving that an individual is wrong, and even when an individual is right in their own merit. Now, the case with Philadelphia versus Umar Johnson. Basically, Umar Johnson walked out of the court with evidence that was presented against him that I believe probably an eighth grader would have been able to dispute and understand. Now, in, prior to prior to the whole Dr. Umar being licensed and him saying that he never claimed he was licensed. Okay, now that's been proven that he's absolutely right. Pharaoh, young Pharaoh. Now you can drop the whole case now. I don't know what your next focus is going to be about. And Tariq Nasheed, you can go ahead and put all the puppets up now, because it's over and done with. I don't know why is it that you guys can't just sit down and discuss the situation. Niggas is just gonna be niggas, Young Pharaoh, he's good for saying niggas is in this, that, and the fifth, but I'm just like, bruh, who the fuck you think you are? You a nigga too. Because the last video I watched about you exposing Dr. Umar Johnson and everything, the last video I watched, man, you sounded like a little girl. I'm just being honest. Like I said, I'm not walking on eggshells about it. With all honesty, it sounded like chattering of little 9-10-year-old girl just going on, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if he touched you or made you feel some kind of way, but hey, let's sit down and talk about the whole situation, man. Tariq Nasheed, I heard some of his videos about Dr. Umar Johnson going in on him and this, that, and the fifth, and with all honesty, I have to say, Tariq, come on, man. You're losing focus. Just like I was telling young Pharaoh, you're losing focus. You're losing focus. Your show should be about enlightenment and informative information. When you start doing all of this gossiping and making puppets, it's no longer about the movement. It's no longer, at that point in time, it's nothing about organization that deems acceptable. It's nowhere organized whatsoever. So my thing is, let's just stay on topic. Stay on topic. Most of all, be man enough to apologize. Oh boy, I can't say it enough. Be man enough to apologize when you are wrong about the individual or a situation. Come forward, say, hey, I was I was wrong, family. I'm really, I'm really bothered by another situation that me and Umar Johnson really need to sit down and discuss and squash this shit, because all three individuals together are just powerful. I won't even lie. I listen to each and every individual. But I will say this much. If your videos, if your speeches, if your meetings start becoming aligned to gossip and drama, I'll tell you right now, most people aren't, most older people, and I'm 39, most older people getting tired of that shit, because we've already grown up around that. We've heard enough of it. And as you get older, you have a tendency that you don't want to hear that shit no more. It starts becoming childish at that point in time. So when you get older and you hear the same shit over and over again, you get tired of hearing it to the point where you just kind of close it out. I know some people will tell me, well, if you don't like what he's saying, then don't watch the video. No, it's as a man, as a king, we need to start holding each other accountable. Basically, when you start holding the individual accountable for some of the ridiculous shit that he's doing, then that makes them more accountable. It will push them to a sense where they're like, okay, before I do this, before I go on to this rant, I need to check myself. Like, what are my followers going to say? What are they going to think? And our followers, their opinions and views really matter, especially if we are pushing an agenda. We are pushing an agenda to unify, to work together, to build. Then that means you have to stop entertaining a whole lot of gossip, a whole lot of drama. And if you don't have your facts together, then that means you need to make sure you get those things together. Young Pharaoh, as I said before, I respect that young man. I appreciate his energy, his research, and how he is articulating his words, putting this information out. Because, like I said, I'm older, but when you are thirsty for learning about your own heritage, because, let truth be told, schools, public and private, are not exposing melanated people to a culture where they can cling to and be proud of. But in the midst of all that, you got to remain positive, and we got to hold these individuals accountable. So until we do, I really don't want to hear anyone crying about, well, just let them be. Just let them be. No, that shit gets old. Start holding these individuals accountable. Everyone is saying, they want to hold Dr. Umar Johnson accountable for his fraudulent ways. I'm like, hey, if it's true, yes, we got to hold him accountable. But if you are wrong in the information that you are expelling to your followers, you got to hold yourself accountable too. Just like you jump up and you post up a video and you're going in on this, you're going in on this man, you're insulting him, you're keeping his name in your mouth. And at that point in time, it's like, damn, is that all you're going to complain about? What he's saying must be some relevance, because if it's not relevant, you're not going to make your entire show about bashing an individual. Stop that. So once again, just hold each other accountable. Please hold each other accountable. And until we can get the ball rolling and get organized. I mean, we could talk all day, but get organized. Take part in an organization that is actually doing things in the community. If not, all of the talking, all of the talking is just a waste of time and breath. And I'll be the first to say, man, shut that shit up. Unless you are teaching, shut that shit up. If you're gossiping, shut that shit up. We don't want to hear it. We really don't. And this is not just old heads, as young Pharaoh would say, because I follow you and I listen to you. But after hearing you rant and sounding like a little girl, I just said, man, and you're not man enough to apologize and say, say that you are wrong. I'm like, you still, in my eyes, I'm just saying, in my opinion, you're still a little boy. You haven't grown yet. And until you learn how to, then you'll forever just be spewing out a whole lot of nonsense and not holding yourself accountable when you're wrong. So until you do that, until you grow, I'm not even trying to hear anything else that young Pharaoh has to say. And Tariq, I'm not trying to hear anything else he's saying until he puts the little kids puppets away. I'm just like, if you want to do kids puppets, why don't you do kids puppets about about the real enemy? Do puppets about them. But until we get past this whole, we can't work together, we can't communicate effectively with each other, the agenda will not move, and no one will really stand with the agenda. We're too busy trying to make each other look retarded and clowning on each other, so that shit's not gonna happen. But yeah, one love, y'all. Take care.